The Chitrik Academy is dedicated in loving memory of Rabbi Tzvi Hirsh Chitrik.
Welcome to today's lesson. Today we are going to learn the final brisa in which the Gemara tries to prove whether a person is allowed to take the law into their own hands or not. We are going to learn from Tashma, over here, till the Mishnah, over here. Let's see the case which we are going to learn. The brisa is going to speak about a case that a person owns a field, and he left a corner of the field, he left it aside for the poor people, which is the mitzvah of payah. The Torah commands us that if someone has a field, when he harvests the field, he needs to leave a corner of it for the poor people. And it's called payah. Payah means a corner. Now this person, the owner of the field, left this corner for the poor people. However, the poor people came, and they started taking from a different corner. So what is going to be the halacha? The halacha the Bryce is going to tell us is they both have the din, the halacha of payah. Meaning, this becomes payah, and this the owner is not allowed to take back for himself. So the Gemara is trying to show that this is a proof that because the person can't take this back, shows that he cannot take the law into his own hands, rather he has to go to Beis Din to try to receive this back. Let's see this in the Gemara. Tashma, come and listen, come and learn. Bal habayis, an owner. Sheiniach payah mitzad echad, who left a corner on one side of his field. Uvo aniyim, and the poor people came. V'natu mitzad acher, and they started taking wheat or whatever was in that field from the other side. So the law is zeh v'zeh payah. The law is that zeh v'zeh, both sides, both corners, have the halacha of payah, have the status of payah. Now the Gemara is going to explain what its proof. V'i amrit, and if we say that avidinish dinul nafshei, that a person is allowed to take the law into his own hands, amai zeh v'zeh payah, why are both considered payah? Why do they both have the halacha of payah? Linkoit pizra, let the owner take a stick, v'leisev, and let him sit by the corner that he designated as payah, let him claim it back. From the fact that we say that he cannot, that both are payah, this corner and this corner is payah, we see that a person is not allowed to take the law into his own hands and take back this corner without going to Beis Din. So this seems like a proof that a person may not take the law into their own hands, and therefore the owner cannot reclaim this corner. Let's go see the answer to the Gemara. So this was the proof. Let's make a P over here. This is the proof the Gemara tried to bring, that a person may not take the law into their own hands. And now we're going to have a rejection. We're going to reject the proof. This is the R for the rejection. Amar Rava said, my zeh v'zeh payah. What does it mean zeh v'zeh payah? It doesn't mean that they both have the halacha status of payah. Let's go back to our case. It does not mean that this has the status of payah and the person cannot take back his field, cannot take back this corner of the field. Really, a person is allowed to take the law into their own hands, and the owner is allowed to take back this corner because this corner is being taken by the poor people. They already claimed it. So what does it mean that this has the status of payah? It means lepaitran, or the last word of the line, lepaitran min ha-maiser, that this owner is now not responsible to give maiser from the original corner that he designated. There's halacha that a person needs to give maiser, needs to give 10% of his produce. He has to give to a Levi. Now, because the poor people start taking from here, so he does not need to give maiser from this corner of the field. And because he originally designated this corner as payah, he does not need to give maiser from this corner as well, even though the poor people are not taking food from there. However, this corner will belong to him, and he is allowed to take the law into his own hands and reclaim this corner. However, because of the din of maiser, he will not be responsible to pay even for this corner. How do we know this halacha? Kedatanya, like it says in a brisa, Hamafger es karmai. If a person says, I'm making my karmai, my vineyard, I'm making it hefker, I don't own it anymore, I'm making it ownerless. V'hishkim b'boiker, and he rose up early the next morning, ubatzra, and he started harvesting from the vineyard that he made hefker. So it says, the halacha is, that this person, chayiv beperet uva'ilais uv'shicha uvapeya, he'll be responsible in 4 mitzvahs on these field that he reclaimed. He'll be responsible for the mitzvah of peret. We'll explain what these are. The mitzvah of ilales, the mitzvah of shecha, and the mitzvah of peya. However, upater min meiser. However, he will not be responsible for meiser, because since it was ownerless for a little bit, and he made it ownerless, then it becomes pater from meiser, because something which is ownerless is not chayiv in meiser. And therefore, in our case, because this corner, he made it hefker, he made it ownerless, he said the poor people could come take it. So even though they later on came and took from this corner, because this corner, the original corner, had a time when it was ownerless, so it's not chayiv to pay for meiser. And this rejects the proof that a person is not allowed to take the law into their own hands, because he may take the law into his own hands and reclaim this corner. Now let's just take a minute to explain the other mitzvahs that we mentioned. So the mitzvah of peya, we explained, that's leaving a corner. The mitzvah of peret is that if fruits, while a person's collecting the fruits off the trees, a few of them fall on the ground, he shall leave them for the 4 people to take. The mitzvah of eilis is that if the grapes are not ripe yet, generally the grapes are in clusters. However, if they're not ripe yet, so it doesn't look like it looks more spread out. They're small, they're unripe. So a person should leave that as well for the poor people. And shicha is that if a person was harvesting his field or his vineyard, and he forgot to pick from, let's say, these 2 trees. So if you forget to pick from these 2 trees should be left for the 4 people. So these are the mitzvahs of peret, which is the ones that fell on the ground that were forgotten. Eilulais, the unripe grapes. And shicha are the trees that the person forgot to pick. And this is the end of this Gemara, and now we're holding by the Mishnah.